All right, we interrupt this intro music to bring you a special message about a very special community event coming up in Birmingham, Alabama. I mentioned this one on a previous episode, but again, a community event with the GBS CIDP Foundation. This will be in Birmingham, Alabama on September 7th of this year at the Homewood Park between 9 and 1. And that's over on Oxmoor Road if you're in the area. This is the GBS Walk and Roll. And like I said, this is one of their premier events to build community. And it gets people like myself with companies and services that'll help us along the journey. So I'm really excited about it. I'm co-chairing it. For additional information, on Facebook, the GBS CIDP Foundation International, and the website gbs-cidp.org. And again, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful community event. I'm so excited. I'll be sharing more information as we get on down the line. Now back to your podcast. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the One Day Closer podcast. I am your humble host, Jay, and got a special treat for everybody today. So normally I would do a little recap here, but we're going to change the format today. We're going to make it good and simple. So last episode, I had my brother Huey on, and we were able to talk about some things, and I know y'all have heard me talk about both my brothers Shawn and Huey, how much they helped. So today, we get to have, as a special guest, my brother Shawn. So say hello.
Woohoo! I made him do that. He got a new toy, and I told him if I'm going to be introduced, I need audience clapping. I need a big introduction.
Wait, hold on. You wanted this, right?
That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
He had to have the fanfare. I practically had to buy new equipment just to get this man on my show. So, well, bro, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it, man. Welcome to the world of podcasting.
We love it.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be the second guest.
All right.
And share our story.
Yeah. So, first, I'm going to apologize to everybody for being a couple of weeks behind on an episode, but we'll be talking about why that is. So, when I should have been getting a podcast done, I was able to take a road trip. We call it the Brothers Tour, or Bro Tour 24. And me and Shawn hit the road for, what we say, it was 10 days, right? 10 days, 9 nights.
10 days, seeing Americana.
Yeah, 2,650 miles, man. A lot of great places. And so, of course, I had intentions, right? I brought the computer with me, brought my equipment, and I thought we might record on the road. And that never quite worked out that way. So here we are. And I'll probably get this edited and aired, but what a trip, right? So we started out from down here in South Alabama. We drove up to hit Nashville. Saw a good friend of mine and a future star, man. Old JJ will be a star one day. And we were able to visit with him in Nashville, and then went up to Bowling Green, right? And
yep, see Mammoth Cave is something I want to do. So I think we kind of shared a couple of things. We knew the route, kind of planned ahead. We had somewhat of a itinerary.
Yeah.
And then there were certain things that you wanted to see, certain things that I wanted to see if we're going to take this together. And it all worked out. We saw everything we
did it
both
all.
wanted.
Yeah. Wow, man. The Mammoth Cave, I wasn't expecting that one. That was impressive. And of course, the Bourbon Tour.
Bourbon Tour is probably part of the highlight for us both. We both love our bourbon.
Yeah,
that was good.
Ain't nothing wrong with a good visit to a distillery for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there we ran up to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, no, I'm sorry, we hit the Ark, which I think I've mentioned before in a previous podcast. How I've kind of felt called to that. Of course, you got to have balance in life, right? We hit the distilleries, and then we went and spent the day at the Ark. But no, was that amazing? I'm not going to get into the judgment of if it crosses that line of too much commercialism with religion, because I have mixed feelings about parts of it. But the Ark itself, you got to admit, was spectacular.
Yep, the sheer size, as they say, and I'm sure in biblical terms or biblical times, the sheer size was amazing, and this does not disappoint. You can see this from a mile away, you can see the size of that arc. That's truly an impressive.
Was it Williamstown, Kentucky? That's got to be the only thing in Williamstown, Kentucky.
Yep.
For sure at that point. But what a day, right? What a day visiting. And then we drove up to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And people would probably say, why would you go to Fort Wayne? Well, for me, that is the home of Sweetwater Music, which is the largest music retailer. Hey, Dave, if you're listening, man, we enjoyed the visit. trying out the new equipment as we speak. So, actually, I'll throw in a plug for Dave, man. If you ever have to get something from Sweetwater Music, ask for Dave Brow. He's been my sales rep probably over 20 years. And we finally got to meet. And then, of course, I felt the need to buy a new guitar while I was there. So, hey, God bless me, man, I had the ability to play again. So we got myself, I treated myself to a new acoustic because I hope to continue to get better and share some love through music. So that was a worthwhile trip, right?
Yep. And then talking about playing,
the
next night we moved on to both our goals we've always wanted to see, and that was a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in downtown Cleveland, right on Lake Erie.
Right on the lake.
Another beautiful. If you guys get a chance to see that, definitely recommended.
Yeah, and then for me, these are all areas I had never been to before. Once we got out of Kentucky, Shawn used to live and work in those areas, but for me, it was just man, like I said, seeing some beautiful parts of the country, and the experience I've been. Oh, Cleveland, but a Rock Hall of Fame. That's another one. I could get into the politics of people are probably going to say, man, you've detoured on your podcast today. I could get into the politics of how the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, selects bands. Because nothing against like rap and hip hop, but there's so many rock bands out there that were there. But that being said, what an amazing place, right? What an amazing place with displays. Yeah. And I would recommend that for everybody.
Yep, an amazing location too. It's everything that, not to get too long-winded, but Cleveland, everything downtown. The Brown Stadium is right next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Cleveland Guardians now is right there, and also where the Cleveland Indians play are.
Yeah, it's all right there.
Yep, all right there, right there in downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, excuse me, we're both of us coughing there. From there, we day tripped it through Pennsylvania, right? The rest of Ohio, and then into Pennsylvania, heading to Washington, D.C., or actually Arlington first. And I will say, like I said, beautiful area of the country. And we lucked out, very good weather up to that point. But then the weather, when you say it can't even get better, it got better. And we did Arlington Cemetery, very moving experience, yes. My first visit there. And the changing of the guards, boy, you can watch that on video and it doesn't do it justice.
That's true, to see it in person.
A moving tribute to our soldiers that have passed the unknowns. And then our nephew, and Cuddy probably doesn't listen to my podcast, so he'll never hear this, but, excuse me, he had just moved to D.C., right? So we go crash, got stuck with two of his uncles. And in an apartment he probably hadn't been living in barely a couple of weeks, but we were able to bring some boxes up, which made our sister, I guess I'll say, is both of us here today, our sister, very happy. And golly, man, so Washington, we did the mall at night. I got to see the monuments all lit up. And then we did the Smithsonian.
Yeah, 3 of the museums. We covered a lot in those 2.5 days.
Yeah.
We did cover a lot, and we also covered things at night. Had some great dinners.
Oh boy!
And
good food in DC. Yeah,
it was good people. Caught a lot. And then on the road to North Carolina.
Asheville. We did a pit stop at a good friend of mine from my days at Rock Camp, Shane, a bandmate, and Shane has become like a brother to us. We've kind of adopted him into the family. And stopped and visited him. It was just a little pit stop for about 2 or 3 hours. But that old rascal gifted me a guitar. He when I was sick and didn't look like I would ever play again. And then, I had the hopes and dreams and prayers of playing again. And he always said, well, he had some guitars I had been eyeing up. and he said, "Hey, you play again." He says, "I will give you, one of these guitars." And by golly, that man was true to his word. And be honest, I had forgot he had told me that. And so when we stopped for that visit, he gifted me a 1987 Charvel. Beautiful, beautiful 80s shredder, yeah. Autographed by Vivian Campbell of Dio and more. Y'all might know him of Def Leppard now. And but wow. So I go on a road trip. I come back with 2 guitars. Not a bad trip. And if that wasn't cool enough, we finished up in Asheville, North Carolina, and did the town, which I didn't realize was such an kind of an artsy place. We hung out at this glass blowing studio probably for an hour, just checking them out and checking their stuff. And then, man, the Biltmore, wow.
That was beautiful. Yeah. Sat at the winery in the end.
Yeah.
And,
more good food.
Yep. Saw the
perfect weather.
Yep. The glass exhibit, Dale Chihuly.
Yeah.
So
he should give us a cut, man, for what he charges. Every time we say his name, he should kick back. We'll have to send this to him. But no, amazing, right? Amazing what him and his studio did with the glass, and any of that's recommended. And of course, after that was just we kind of broke the drive back up 2 days going home. But man, you want to talk about amazing. One of the things we talked so many times about is how years ago, when you were coming to care for me or help care for me, how we could never even imagine, me being able to walk and do these things. And I mean, we would have done it if I was in my wheelchair still, like I was, barely a year and a half ago.
Yeah, when we think about that, just less than a couple of years ago. Yeah,
needed the wheelchair to go everywhere.
Made this trip.
Yeah,
definitely. And you hung in there for the whole trip. Did your walking. Sometimes I might have pushed you a little bit more than you needed, but you went at your own pace and you stopped. And if you had to, you rested. Yeah. If I went on, I went on. But it all worked out.
You would know where to find me. Yeah. And sometimes I probably pushed myself too hard, because I could have said no, but I'm stubborn that way. But I also credit some of that with my recovery, constantly trying to push myself. And like I said, I'm just so blessed, man, when it comes to that. So anyway, that lets everybody know. And thank y'all for indulging us on that a little bit, but that's why we're a couple of weeks late. And since I do have Shawn, usually, everybody knows I move forward in the story, but we'll kind of stay around that same time frame as that last episode, which is right there around my discharge from the hospital. And actually today with Shawn, we're going back up a little bit more than that. And then just talk about those that week after discharge and when you turned over to Huey. And like I said, we're kind of doing the interviews in reverse, but Huey, talked about some things. So, here we are. This would have been early June of 21, right? I think we talked about earlier. We're trying to get all the dates straight. So Shawn was a recent member of the retirement club.
And June 1st, 2020.
Yeah.
2021.
And hey, what does everybody want to do to celebrate the retirement? Go down a week later to care for their paralyzed brother,
That's it. It was kind of I don't say, it's more than a coincidence. It was really, timing was unbelievable, where I did have the time. And when you were sick, I did fly down there, I believe, before, and drove down there. Spent some time, but it just so happened that June 1st, it really kind of worked out where I had time on my hand, and you needed someone.
I needed help.
Christy needed help, and it kind of worked out. I had it, and it was a beautiful thing.
That's God's timing, right?
Yes.
How much in life we talk about God's timing in life?
Yes.
So yeah, at that point, Christy and I've talked in previous episodes about Christy, the way her job kind of fell together. Another just. When it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And so Christy was starting, she was working days. She was training there in June. And I think she had like 2 weeks of training, maybe 3. But Shawn came down, and when you came down, bro, you would stay with me during the day when she'd be off training. But then when she transitioned to start working nights, then you were still there.
That's right.
To stay. And this, again, going back to, I was still in the hospital at this point, but Shawn would be there during the day to just make sure they were taking good care of me, and he would help what normally Christy would do at that point.
Right. Go with you to physical therapy, whether you're in the pool or having it done in the office with an inpatient there. So it just kind of took a load off of Christy, especially Christy, and hopefully you, bro, felt good to have something that Christy got a break, and you also had a brother with you.
She worked so hard. It's me and her kind of laugh and cry about it many times over the years. But wow, I can't imagine what she had to go through. But yeah, you were there to give me that support, and those are the kind of things that help make me push to get better. Bought a pool. You remember that first time in the pool? Talk about pool therapy. So to back up a little bit, golly, I was at Spain like for 2 months at that point, or almost 2 months. And for like most of that 2 months, I was told so many times, like, oh, we got this great pool. It would do wonders. You would be able to do so good. But it's closed due to COVID, and you can't use it. So we've got this tool that will do wonders for you in your rehabilitation. So it literally took to, I think it was probably right when you got down there in June. It was like the beginning of the second week of June, they finally got me in the pool. And I know that, you were there. I can speak to like how I felt, but when they lowered me, had to pull me out of my wheelchair, and they put me in that seat and lowered me in that pool. It was kind of another blow to the mind, just to remind yourself how far you have to go. But at the same time, the workout was so good, that I was able to move things that couldn't move on land because of gravity. So yeah, in that sense, like, wow, right?
Well, I'm sure you felt helpless too. And I could tell it was in your face. And I mean, we take it for granted, jumping in the pool and being able to wade around, swim. I'm a swimmer myself, and so we take that for granted sometimes. But then seeing you being lowered, pulled from your chair and lowered into the water, and you feel helpless that you couldn't save yourself if you had to. And of course, the physical therapist was right there to coax you and to help you and support you, and that. But that's something that so many things I would say through this. Your illness is it's taught. Probably our family especially, is that things that we take for granted that we no longer take for granted. Seeing someone close, family member, brother, sister, mother, father, and I think for everybody out there, if they've had to help support a good friend or just a relative, family, and things that it definitely makes you step back and say, we're not going to take these things for granted. Just waking up, going out the house. Heck, I went and played my pickleball this morning, and I do that like I do every day, and walk, and I don't take those things for granted anymore. And it's because of watching you go through it and watch how fast
it changed.
It can change. It can change in a second, in a blink of an eye. And I think also, as we get older too, you should gravitate towards that and not take life for granted anymore. And everything is special. And without watching you going through the illness, watching you go through the illness it's definitely taught me some lessons also.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I always tell people, man, it's a whole new appreciation to understand that every moment of our life is a blessing. There's a thing, you see some people see it social media, you'll see it's circulating around, but it's like, if you can change your mindset from, oh, I have to go grocery shopping, or I have to go get the oil changed, or I have to, do this, or I have to go to the gym, or I have to go to work. And if you change that into, I get to, right? Because from somebody who was laid out flat, stuck in a hospital bed, shoot, I would have, like I could only hope and pray to do those things again. But, prior to that, I would have probably been right there with somebody, just like, oh, I got to go to work, or I got to do this. So that shift, that shift in attitude, or the way we look and perceive our lives. And that's one of the things I try to stress with the podcast. Everybody knows my saying, man, live your spirit, man. It's just enjoy life, have faith, and all. So one of the other things, Shawn, we did was once we got discharged, right, and we went in the apartment, we would do day trips to get me out the house because Christy was working nights at that point. And, small apartment. So we were not going to sit there and make noise. So, and it was also, who you kidding, after being in the hospital for 4.5 months combined for 2021, I was looking to do anything to get out. And so at this point, I was able to walk. You would have to put my leg braces on and my arm braces. And it was a beautiful Frankenstein walk, but man, I could walk.
It was.
And yeah, get to your car, whatever vehicle we were using.
Mm-hmm.
And we day trip, Lowe's,
Every day.
just
every
something.
Day yep, every day you wanted to get out, and I commend you on that because other people could have sat there and had their pity party and going, you know what, I just want to sit here. I'm out of the hospital, just relax. So, but every day we'd go out and do something. And we'd go window shopping at home goods. So we'd go to Lowe's or Home Depot. No matter what, we went out. We always went and got a different lunch. You'd tell me about the different places. Again, I was new to the Birmingham area.
Yeah.
But every day we'd go out and do something. And again, I would get you dressed, put your braces on, shirts, pants, shorts. Everything.
Yeah, I mean, get me showered for the day.
Get you showered. Sometimes get your shower up for the day.
That's what I try to tell everybody. I said, you don't know how, I hate to say hopeless or helpless, but how much help you need when, hey, I'm out the hospital, life's good. You would say everything's good, but still somebody would have to bathe me, dress me. Yep, and humbling experiences, right? Among some other ones we talked about earlier.
Yep, and then we'd feed you. We'd go to whatever restaurant we went to. A lot of burgers back then.
Burgers.
Good,
it was
good
easy
barbecue.
to feed me, yeah.
It was good, but we'd cut them up in small pieces
no
or
doubt.
halves, and I would sit there with mine and lift up your burger. You'd take a bite of it. I'd put it down, then take a bite of mine, and then we'd go back and forth, and then it would work out. We'd finish our meals. When you wanted to sip, I'd pick up your cup. You could take a sip, and then again, we'd take turns like that eating, but it worked out. But every day, it's it was an adventure every day. And
hey, I was just so happy to get out. Like I said, I mean, you'd even have to buckle me in a seat. Of course, talking about the burgers. So me and you, we talked about kind of doing something similar, right? Except that first time that I was able to kind of maneuver and like hurl my arm up. And basically just set the burger on like my face and then kind of nibble on it. But I was just determined to do that stuff. But wow, some good times, and of course it helped mentally. For me to, like I said, to get out,
right,
and stuff.
Yeah, that was a big step when you could start feeding yourself. At least lift up your and take a bite of your own hamburger.
Oh my gosh! And then me and you we joked about when I used to eat like a bird, right? Like at the apartment. You'd make a plate, and you eat too, and I'd have y'all lay it out, kind of spread it out, cut up in small pieces, and then I would just sit on the stool and just go into it face first. But it's like I don't know, call it stubbornness or stupidity on my part, but I just always wanted to. But if you remember, right? If you remember back then, I mean, they were telling me like they wasn't expecting much improvement, And so I, some of it was stubbornness, but some of it was just trying to say, okay, if this is as good as it gets.
That's right. We didn't know it at
how
that time.
am I going to do these things?
That's right.
And like I said, at the time, it was still that, hey, Mr. Fassbender, this is probably about as good as it's going to get. Yeah, maybe we'll hopefully get you a little better. And, what a road it's been, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and shoot, man, like I said, we could go on and on for hours. And, but my gosh, man, what a road. I think back on it. I always tell people doing this podcast is I think more therapeutic for me. And then, like I said, God willing, man, we're helping some people, maybe increase their faith, but if nothing else, to know, just, keep pushing, right? Keep pushing through and don't give up. Cause even though the doctors were telling me, hey, it's not going to get much better than this. I felt that there was, I said, I answer to a higher power, man. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And like I said, we've been blessed with a miracle. It doesn't mean we don't have our struggles, but wow, and like I said, our trip is just kind of, just a bit of proof of that.
Yeah, a testament of that.
Yeah.
And just looking back at that area again during that time, a year and a half, less than 2 years ago,
Yeah.
is that you didn't know how far you could take it and how much healing was going to be possible as far as your physical limitations, things like that, but little by little by little. So for those out there that could be struggling with any type of
Anything, yeah.
have faith, I think as our family and our brothers, we have a lot of faith, a lot of faith. We've before the podcast, we're not going to share this now,
Yeah.
but before the podcast,
Well,
we're actually sharing our testimony.
Yeah. Well, you can
and-
share
and
yours a little
having-
bit. Just give the abridged version. No, because I mean, that's what part of this podcast is like, I'm sharing my faith and in essence, the peace, right? The peace we find through Jesus, because of our faith. And like I said, hey, it's not, no, we're perfect or nothing like that. But man, oh man, we've got somebody on our side to carry those burdens. That's what I tell people: let Jesus carry your burdens. So
Yeah,
go ahead, man. Just do the abridged version. You don't have to go how deep on what was going on personally in life, but it was a low point, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a low point. It was one of those low points that just sleeping in your room, in your own bedroom, and you're sleeping on the floor because you don't even feel worthy enough to sleep on a bed. And I'll just hint, it was a first divorce, crushed. But when things got really, really bad and I felt I had lost everything, just cried out truly at night, one night, and said, Lord, if you're real, maybe I get choked.
No, that's okay. That's okay, man. But yeah, like I said, hey, if he's real, help me.
Come into my life. If you're really out there, and
Yeah.
and I choked
Yeah.
up.
No. But
this
tell them what
This happened like 30 years ago, 35 years ago, and still it's so strong because I felt I could hear a voice, felt a voice, felt a sense that said, "Get up, lay in your bed, and everything's gonna be okay."
Everything's gonna be okay.
And I felt a warmth cover me, and that was probably 35 years ago, and I've slept excellent every night ever since that 35 years. I could feel like that's a faith. That was just, but I cried out in time of need, and sure enough,
and he answered.
I was blessed. So it doesn't have to happen like that for everyone. No one has to have the strong testimony, the strong feeling. This is strictly my personal account.
Yeah.
That was just so. Again, 35 years later, when I recount it, I still get choked up on that because truly feel like I was blessed in that one.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, and that's the thing is I try to tell people, man, just trust, man. Give what you did that night is you cried out and you handed that burden over to him. I said, and you received that peace. When you say that feeling, I describe it, as a calmness or a peace.
Mm-hmm.
And man, what a beautiful, beautiful thing it is to have that right in your life. And then of course, I'm sure you're like me and many others where moving forward in your life, as the turmoils come, right, as the challenges come, the things that just seem, that it can't be, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Insurmountable, right? And but if we lose track of that faith, then that's when we suffer, right? That's when we don't have that peace and that calm and the stress, levels. And of course, I've talked about on the show about my battles with depression and even suicide, and so when our lives are out of control like that, to refocus, because I'm telling you, every time I've put my faith, and gave that burden over to him, man, it's that calm comes back over, and it's there. It never left. It's just it's me, sometimes questioning my faith or something like that, or forgetting where that peace truly comes from, and the peace that we know through Jesus. So
yeah, and it's a calm, and it's about reaching out. Not if you, even if you don't reach out to what we would call the Lord, our Savior, because this is our faith. This is our Christian faith, my Christian faith I speak about only. But reaching out to anyone, Jay, you reach out to a lot of people, and anyone struggling, just to reach out, humble yourself, which I know you had to do when, we talk about me dressing you
Oh
and,
gosh,
and bathing you and cleaning you and wiping you and just and everything. But you humbled yourself. You had to humble yourself, to allow someone to go ahead and care for you, and
which was
especially your
blessings,
brother.
though, right? I mean, it was a blessing that, and not just y'all, but I mean, like even I've talked about like at the hospital, the patient caretaker, the 1st young lady that had to do that for me. I cried and cried and cried like a baby, because it was such a humbling experience. And I think, like I said, if we humble ourselves before God, and like I said again, it's our faith, and I'm not going to tell anybody what faith they believe in, but definitely, this is a vehicle for me to share mine, and of course yours is likewise. So, well, I tell you, bro, with that, we'll go ahead and start putting a wrap on it. And like I said again, thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope y'all enjoyed it. A little deviation from our regular show. And
I gotta ask you one more thing, bro, man.
Shoot,
when you send me out, you gotta hit my button here. It's got a new tool. We're sitting in the office.
How about this one?
Oh no, not that.
I don't think that was the one you were going for there. Huh?
Where is that applause?
Yeah.
He knows which one I want.
All right, well, we'll do it official. Well, I'd like to thank my guest today, Shawn Fassbender, for joining. Yeah. All right. So there you go, bro. We sent you out with the big one, but
I got an ego.
yeah, no doubt. So with that, like I said, just thank everybody for listening. We should be back on track to every 2 weeks again, and we'll actually move the story forward. Unless Christy comes on the show, but I don't think she's ready to do that.
Oh, we think pretty soon you're going to have call-in guests.
Yeah.
This is with this tool. We're joking about this tool, about the applause and sounds and the introduction, but
I'll be able to take phone calls.
Yep, it's to move forward with call-in guests, take phone calls, things like that.
Yeah.
And I know that's where you want to move forward to. And
yeah.
This is one more tool helping that. So I'm glad I got the chance to be the second guest. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. You're welcome, bro. So with that, we'll kind of wrap it up there. And like I said, in closing, remember, right? Have faith, trust in Jesus.
Amen.
Yeah. And remember, live your spirit.